Hello, this is Dr. Todd, and in this edition of Thinking Christianly, I'm going to be answering the question, how do you respond to an angry person? But before I do that, I want to remind you, if you've enjoyed these videos, please feel free to hit the like button down below and also subscribe. That way I can continue bringing these quality videos to you that I hope will help you in your ministry to others. Also, if you have any future questions that you would like me to deal with, just put those in the comments and I'll entertain all of them. So let's get to answering the question. How do you respond to an angry person? Well, I think it's important before we answer that question to ask, how should we understand or define anger? Robert Jones, in his book, Uprooting Anger, provides a great definition. Let me read that to you. In his book, Jones defines anger as this. Jones says, our anger is a whole-personed, active response of negative moral judgment against perceived evil. Our anger is a whole-personed, active response of negative moral judgment against perceived evil. You got to understand, when someone is angry, they're not simply disputing facts. There's something going on deeper in their heart. As Jones said, it's a whole person. There's something that goes all the way down to the core of the person that they're trying to communicate. They have somehow been slighted or feel unjustly treated, and they are trying to set the record straight. And hurt people hurt people. And as such, what typically happens is they will start hurling accusations at the object of their anger. So that would be you in this scenario. And the natural human response is to respond defensively. And if I could give you paint a word picture for you, what tends to happen is I want you to imagine that they are compressing a snowball with a bunch of nasty things in it. And they're taking that snowball and they're throwing it at you. When we are defensive, what we typically do then is we catch the snowball, we bring the snowball to the person, and then we rationally show the person where they are wrong. And so we seek to solve an emotional issue with logic and rationality. And that never works. What we have to do is understand what the writer of Proverbs wrote in Proverbs 15:1, when he said, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And so when we are rationally explaining the nasty snowball to the person, we're actually being defensive. We're explaining to them how they've got their facts wrong, or you didn't do it, or how this is just not so. And one of the things you got to understand is that an unacknowledged emotion only grows stronger. So we need to do what the scripture tells us to do. First of all, we need to realize the situation we're in. James 1:19 and 20 says, this you already know, my brethren, but everyone should be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger, for the anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God. And so we've got to realize we've just stepped into a situation. So relationally, we need to be self-aware that something's wrong with this person as far as their state as they're coming at you with this anger. And then second of all, we need to realize that for whatever reason, this person is trying to communicate a deep, heartfelt hurt. They've been morally wrong somehow, and they're seeking justice, usually at your expense. And so that is why it is not unreasonable to feel defensive, especially if you're innocent. But that doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't help the person with their anger, and it doesn't help you deal with them to help calm them down. So what we need to do is we need to kind of think of three things. We need to think about empathy. We need to think about understanding, and we need to think about the heart. Empathy is simply acknowledging the thoughts and feelings of the other person. Understanding is we've got to really realize that we don't need to take things so personal. We need to be secure in who we are. And we need to then focus in on what the real issue, the real heart issue is that the person's struggling with and having a really hard time articulating. Because if you don't get to the heart of the issue, you'll never help them with their anger. So what does that look like practically? What it looks like practically, instead of catching the nasty snowball, you duck underneath the snowball and you gently move toward the person with loving concern. You brush aside the accusations. You acknowledge their emotional experiences that they're having. You give them credit where the credit is due. Perhaps on some level, they have some right to be annoyed with you. You're secure in who you are, but you really seek to bring things back to the issue. Do not get sidetracked on you always or you never or other accusations. That's simply trying to defend yourself. Christ can defend you well enough. Move in toward them. Help them identify what the heart issue really is. You might say something like, well, Joe, I can tell you're upset with me, but it seems like there's more going on than that. What are you feeling right now? What's really happening? What got taken away from you? That kind of thing. And I think if you'll do that, the person will respect you, but also you'll solve part of the problem here. You'll tend to de-escalate things. Remember, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word, in other words, defensive responses, stir up anger. So if you'll remember that, I think you'll deal much more effectively with angry people. Look, I hope this video has been helpful. Like I said before, if you liked it, click the like button and go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to have you part of our Thinking Christianly family. If you have any questions or any further or any future questions you'd like to see me deal with, as I said, put them in the comments section. God bless. We'll talk again soon.